Thank you so much for joining me for this yoga session. Hope you're doing well, taking care of yourself. Hopefully you've got all the stuff you need, a yoga mat or as much room as a yoga mat, some blocks, a blanket for cushion, something to drink to keep yourself hydrated. I think this will be a pretty mellow, slow stretch. So settle on in and join me. Find that comfortable seat. Let your eyes close if that is comfortable. And become aware of your breath. That's the first thing you do when you're practicing yoga. Mindfulness is become aware of your breath. Set aside all of the stuff going on and just be with your breath. Cultivate that connection to the right here, right now. And that connection keeps you rooted in yourself. And you are nourishing and taking care of yourself. Practicing kindness, compassion, and love with yourself. If you don't find it easy to talk to yourself that way, the more you practice, the easier it gets. And you are here to observe and witness, not to judge. Really try to heighten that witness mind, that observer mind, and you can relax the judgment mind for the time being. The breath is coming in and out of your nose or your mouth. There's some combination of your nose and mouth. And you're filling up those lungs on the inhale and releasing fully on the exhale. And that full deep breath grows deeper and fuller as you sit. And when you're ready, start that 3-part yoga breath. That is where you fill up the lower third of your lungs, then the middle third, then the upper third, and then release fully upper, middle, lower. And that 3-part yoga breath helps to anchor you even more in yourself in the present moment. If you find yourself struggling or challenged or distracted, just bring yourself back to your breath. Stay with that awareness of your body as you press down into your mat. Feel that connection to the floor, the building, the ground the building's built into, and then the world that connects us all. So think about engagement or actively bring a squeeze to your glutes. Press your knees away, flex your feet. Feel that support, that anchoring in, that groundedness. And then on your exhale, lift and stretch yourself out of that place of support. Take up all that room around you that you are meant to take up. Once again, think about engagement or actively press yourself up into the space around you, crown of the head, tops of the ears, closer to the sky. But yet there's this gentle pressure on the tops of your shoulders to lengthen the space at your neck. And still you're breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. And exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. You're lifting the front body. The heart is coming up. And you're pulling down the back body. The blades are gently tucking in to help support. Let your whole being just be here, right now with your breath. You can let your hands make their way to your heart. You could take a moment to set an intention if you'd like, something you're working on personally. If nothing comes to mind, or you just want to add to the idea of already feeling that anchoring in and that stretching up, both coming from within. And then together we're going to inhale and stretch, and reach up above our heads. Exhale, pull down into your heart center. A couple more times. Inhaling, exhaling, third time. And then let yourself unwind from that seated position. And of course, I should also mention, don't let your feet get tingly. Don't let your toes get tingly. Always move around so you're not in that tingle mode. All right, you're dropping those knees side to side, those legs side to side. That you're in charge of how close they are, how far apart they are. Try to stay lifted up off those arm limbs. Don't have all your weight back on those arms. You're holding yourself in your core. And you're breathing full and deep. And then eventually you're going to come back into a seated position, and make sure you support yourself. So if you want to sit up on a blanket to support your hips and then also cushion your ankles, take time to do that so you feel the most comfortable. And we're going to do some neck stretches. So you're in charge of how your legs are. Make sure that you move them if you need to at any time. And start with pressing down first to feel that support with your whole self, and then lift. And try to maintain that as you drop your chin down towards your chest. And then let one ear come over one shoulder. Doesn't matter which side you start to. And then let your other ear come over the other shoulder, and let yourself move side to side. This is not a fast move. This is kind of a small, subtle move. Keep lifting your heart. Keep pulling your blades down, and let that head move side to side, not so much back. You're not bringing it all the way back. You're just rolling right up over the shoulder with that ear, and then rolling back down. And so a few more times side to side, and then you're going to pause. Let's start with that right ear over that right shoulder, breathing full and deep. You're still lifting the heart. You're still pulling the blades down, and you're letting that length happen on that left side. Inhaling and exhaling. That left hand, if it feels all right, that left arm can reach out. You start to get a little bit more length, and you start to feel a little bit more sensation down that shoulder. If you want to gently start nodding your head, so you're nodding your head yes. Inhale, next your fingers are just gently pulling on the floor. If you don't like that sensation, you can always bring that hand back into your lap. It lessens it a little bit. So you're nodding yes, and then you're going to pause, and then you're going to shake your head no. So let that nose now go back and forth, letting that left side open, inhale and exhale, and then pause, and then let some circles happen. And then as you're circling, this is your left jaw. This is not pretty, but no one can see you. You can see me, and that's okay because I want you to do this. Move that jaw around. You might hear some cracking. Get deep into those nooks and crannies. And then you're going to pause. Of course, if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to. If that arm's out, bring it back, and then you're going to bring your head through center and go side to side a couple times. Inhaling and exhaling, feeling the difference between the right side and the left side. And then you're going to pause with those left ears over those left shoulders. Stay lifted. Only let those right arms sneak out, those fingers just just tippy tappy on the floor right there, and oh no, there, good. Tip tappy on the floor, and let yourself breathe into that stretch. And when you're ready, some gentle yes and no's can. So we'll start with the yeses, where you're letting that chin come down to your chest, and then you're lifting your chin so your nose is kind of going up and down, though your head's at an angle, so it's not going to feel like up and down. Inhale and exhale. Take a few more breaths. And then you're going to pause and you're going to start the no. This is a really subtle, soft, easy move. It's a lot of sensation, but it is not a big move. Inhale and exhale. And then let some circles happen. Breathing full and deep. Let it happen the other direction. And then if you want to add the jaw, I can hear it like moving around. We carry a lot of stress in our jaw. And then when you feel complete, you're going to let that go. Bring that hand back into the lap. Let that head flow side to side a couple times. And then pause in the middle and notice how you feel. Breathing full and deep. And then this is where, if your legs are uncomfortable at any time, move them around so you feel comfortable. The further apart your legs are from your body, though, you have a bigger base. So if that helps you, do that. All right. The arms are just going to be at your sides. You're going to bring those shoulders up by your ears and then pull them down behind and bring them around. So this is just a gentle shoulder shrug. You're bringing the shoulders up in the shrug and then bringing them back behind. Squeeze those blades and then bring them around a couple more. Really get into those nooks and crannies. Inhale and exhale. The next time you find those shoulders up by your ears, pause, and now bring them forward and then bring them back. And so you're going the opposite way. And so your arms are just really loose at your sides. Keep your elbows nice and soft. Couple more. And then pause in that neutral position. Notice how you feel. Breathing full and deep. And then that right arm can come out to the side. Keep the hand shoulder height. Start with the palm up. So rotate the palm up and then rotate the palm down and move. And if you want to, and actually it's going to be up and then to the back. So it's like you're threading that arm. Keep that elbow protected. So a couple times, keep that shoulder socket pulled in. And then palm up, bend the elbow, and bring the hand to right at the back of your upper back. So right there below your neck. Keep trying to bring that elbow up. And only if it serves you, if you don't strain, you can bring that opposite hand and give a little press. So pay attention to your head. If your neck is pulling forward, if this might not work, you might not have the flexibility to do it, and that's okay. Breathe full and deep. You can still do the reach, which is the thing we're doing. The press is just extra. And then let that right arm go. Notice how it feels. Breathing full and deep. And then left arm up. And keep that socket in. And then you're just rotating at the arm socket. One side might feel more loose than the other, and that's okay. It's not really about judging. It's just being about aware. Make sure that you're protecting that elbow. Palm comes up. Bend that elbow and bring that hand to the back and your side. This side definitely feels, I don't get this elbow as high. And so the press is a little bit less accessible on this side. So I'll just practice with trying to bring that elbow up as I keep trying to bring my whole self up. And then let that arm go and just take a couple moments. Notice how you feel, breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. And then let yourself, if you are sitting on something, it might be better to come down onto the flat ground and let those legs extend wide. This is a great place for your blocks. So have them in place in front of you, and you are hinging. I'm bringing my hands to right where you're going to be hinging. Plus, press through those heels and keep those kneecaps activated as you let yourself hinge between those legs, hands coming wherever feel comfortable. So only go as far as feels good. Inhaling and exhaling, staying with your breath. Try to keep your heart lifted. Try to keep your shoulder blades tucked into place. Breathing full and deep. You do not have to have your chest on the ground to get a good stretch. You are still getting that good stretch even if your body is way up in the air. If you stay active, you'll get that stretch. Inhale and exhale. And then let yourself come up into that upright position. Let those blocks come out from the middle, and then you're going to bring those legs into the center and shake them out. Maybe move those ankles around if that feels good to you, and move those toes around if that feels good to you. And then if you want the blocks for support, this is a hinge along with a row. If it feels good to go wide, go wide. If you prefer straight up, go straight up. If you prefer not to reach and row, you can also just do the reach on the floor, which is just your hands down along the ground as you hinge. The next time you come forward, you're going to pause, breathing full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhale fully, chest, ribs, navel. This is a hinge. Keep trying to pull that navel up into your chest. Keep trying to pull that chest up into your chin, and keep trying to lift your whole self up into that space. That right hand, if you're really far forward, you might need to come up a little bit. That right hand is going to come somewhere on that left leg, left knee. It doesn't matter where. And then let that left arm, so keep your navel pointing between your legs, and then reach and open and twist your heart to the left. Inhaling and exhaling, breathing full and deep. And then you're bringing yourself through center. The left hand is traveling anywhere on the right leg. Keep that navel pointing towards between those legs, and then let that chest, heart rotate to the right. That right arm reaches. Keep that shoulder engaged. Keep pressing through those heels. Inhaling and exhaling, and then bring yourself back through center. Let yourself completely relax. Do a little shake, and then in fact, bring your knees really bent and do a couple windshield wipers, noticing how you feel. And then bring the soles of your feet together to have that stretch, that butterfly stretch. You're in charge of how close your legs are. You're going to get a different sensation depending on what you choose. You're pressing those knees away, actively pressing through those feet. So everything is really active, and you are still hinging here. And coming forward into that forward fold. The more you press those knees away, now the stretch has moved into your inner thigh. You might still feel this, of course, at the top of your buttocks as you stretch away from that lower body. As long as you have no pain, then stretch as much as feels good, breathing full and deep. And then let yourself come up. Keep that left leg in. Let that left leg extend. Same thing. Reach wide. Go straight up. or just have your hands be, your arms be at a normal place, and let yourself hinge over that right leg now with that left knee bent. Inhaling and exhaling, and then let yourself come up, and then you're going to send the left leg out, pull the right leg in. Once again, you're in charge as you hinge over whatever you're going to do with those arms, breathing full and deep. And you might be able to touch your toes, you might not. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is about finding that solid base and then lifting and hinging over that solid base. And then lift yourself up. Come once again with those legs bent in that windshield wiper move. Breathing full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhale fully, chest, ribs, navel. And then bring yourself around onto those hands and knees. If you like blocks for your child, have those in place. If you want cushion for your knees while you're in your child or on our knees for a little bit, take time to bring that down. You're going to walk those knees as wide apart as feels good to you. And then let yourself press back into that space. Reach those arms forward. They can reach over blocks or they can just be reaching on the floor. The more you activate that shoulder girdle and pull those shoulders out of your ears, spread those blades and tuck them in, the more you're going to get that whole big stretch on your body. Inhale and exhale. Breathe full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhale fully, chest, ribs, navel. And if you did go with the blocks, let yourself come off the blocks so you can then have your arms reaching forward. If they haven't been, bring them. And then stay in that child. Excuse me. Take that right arm and sneak it underneath that left. Keep that right hand, that right arm pretty close to your legs. Pay attention. You're not straining your neck. You're breathing full and deep here as you get that stretch on the outside of your right shoulder. Keep trying to square your chest to the mat. Stay heavy with that lower body, light with that upper body. And then bring yourself back through center. Same thing, other side. So that left arm is going to sneak. Keep that left arm really close. Still keep trying to square. Breathing full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhale fully. Chest, ribs, navel. And then once again, up to release. And then up into a stable table. Knees come right underneath those hips. Hands are right underneath your shoulders, and you're spreading those fingers wide. And then you're doing a few little pelvic tilts. This is just moving the pelvis to get that pelvis in that place that supports you. And it's always the same, where you're pulling the tail down and then you're pulling the pubic bone into the navel into the chest into the chin. Spread those fingers wide. Do not hyperextend the elbows. And then keeping your blades pulled and tucked in, pull the blades together and then pull them apart. So they're always tucked, but you are really pressing down and pulling apart, and then find yourself in that place of support. Your blades are pulled down and your back is nice and flat. And then your cat and cow. Inhale, sway that back in the middle back. Exhale, round in the middle back. So your cat and cow stays in that middle back. You're staying active in your girdles as you let your body move in that cat and cow. Stay with your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And then pause in your neutral position. Remember, you can come back and rest in child. You're never hyperextending those elbows. You're always trying to bring the weight to the top part of your hand. You can even lift your palms in order to get that activation and do that. Breathe full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhale fully, chest, ribs, navel. This is where you are going to, you might want blocks. This is where you're going to bring that right leg up between your hands. Take your time to bring it there. Your right foot and your left knee are on railroad tracks, and if you have the blocks, it keeps you lifted and long from your tail to your crown, because it's typically you're all rounded over and you want to stay nice and long. It also helps then, because we're going to lengthen that right leg in front of us by pressing back with our hips. I also lifted the leg up just to show you I still have that knee protected, and I'm pressing back so I get that length down the back of the leg. And then I'm going to bring myself forward so I get that stretch now right there. Breathing full and deep. So your legs, your foot, your right foot and left knee on railroad tracks as you move back and forth a few times, lengthening that leg, keeping that knee protected, and then bending into that really deep runner's lunge in that back. If you want to pause, and here's where you do a little of that flossing. We did it with our arms. You can do it with your legs. It's all happening at your hip. Hopefully you can see I'm pressing through that heel, keeping that kneecap protected. Also, even in both hips. We're going to pause. We're going to come forward into that runner's lunge, and then bring ourselves forward into that full lunge, breathing full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhale fully, chest, ribs, navel. Stay with your breath. And then lift yourself and bring your right arm to the inside of your right leg. And if you want to sneak that back left knee back, it's still on the railroad track, you just sneak it back. And then here's where, if you can keep yourself nice and long, where you don't round too much, if you want to come down into that alligator crocodile pose, keep trying to pull that right knee into your right elbow. Inhale and exhale, lift yourself up, coming into that upright position to then bring that right arm on the outside of that left knee, and then bring that right foot so it is right underneath that right ankle. Your right foot, left knee still on railroad tracks. You're right in the middle. Make sure that left knee is right underneath that left glute, your hip flexor, and you lift yourself into that upright position. Arms can come wide and then come to your heart, breathing full and deep. And then we're going to twist that left elbow to that right knee, or if you would rather, bring that left hand down to the floor or a block. And if you are doing either of those and you want to lift that back knee, if you've got that hand down, you can always bring that right arm up or bring it to the small of your back, or you're just in the prayer. Remember, the knee does not have to come up. And then let yourself untwist. If the knee is up, bring it down. You're going to set yourself back into your child, completely reset from that side, breathing full and deep. Stay with your breath. Stay with how it feels in your body. Make sure you've got cushion for your knees. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself by drinking water as you need it, and staying with your breath. And then lift yourself up, and you are coming to the other side. So we started first with coming into that runner's lunge. Left foot now comes up between those hands or those blocks, and you are paying attention to your hips, because your feet are on railroad tracks, your right knee is on a railroad track, your left foot's on a railroad track, and your hips are tracking. And then we're going to start to move. You're going to lengthen and then pull forward. So here's where you play around and figure out what works best for you. In that press back, if you want to pause and do that little flossing, if that feels good to you, you're protecting those kneecaps. Inhaling and exhaling, staying with that breath. And then you're bringing yourself forward. Make sure you feel steady. See how I move that foot to where it needs to be? You're hanging out in that lunge position. Keep your hips even and square and always in this, so they're always working together, though they're two separate units. And then bring that left side into that left arm into the inside of that left leg. You can scoot back on that right knee if that would feel good to you. You should feel this all in your glutes and your hip flexors, not your low back. You should not feel it. If you do feel this in your low back, either your stance might be too wide, so you need support with your arms. Only come down to your elbows if it's something that feels good to you. Eventually, you will make yourself back up into that runner's lunge position. I move that left foot back now, and I'm going to come up into my knee down runner's lunge. I'm keeping those hips even. I'm keeping both glutes pulled down. I'm pulling those hip flexors up. So everything is working together. The hands come to the heart, and then if you want to do that twist, sometimes you got to move your padding out of the way, come into your runner's lunge. Of course, you do not have to lift the knee. You can also be in this hand down with the arm just going to where your crack would be. If you did lift the knee, bring that back down. Everything comes back down. And you rest back in your child. Take up space. Anchor yourself down and then take up space where you're at. Breathing full and deep. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhale fully. Chest, ribs, navel. And then keeping your girdles engaged. Those are what help to support you. You can come up into a downward dog if it would feel good to you. Lift your center of gravity up. Keep those knees bent. Inhale and exhale. Move as much as feels good. Remember to find your balls. Your heels are heavy. Your toes, you should be able to lift them away from the mat and to just have a gentle grip. So if you can't lift your toes away, your stance is probably too wide. Inhaling and exhaling, breathing full and deep. Remember, you can come to child at any time, knowing that you can move however feels good to you. You're either going to drop to table and step up, or you're going to lift your lower part your lower body a little bit higher and move and walk to standing in that forward fold, feet on those railroad tracks. Find that place between those balls and those heels. Use whatever you need in order to find that place of balance, and then keeping those knees nice and loose and relaxed, not hyperextended. Start to let yourself sway. Move, and then after you move, you're going to come into that forward fold, and this is you hinging at your hips. It's not bending at the belly. It really helps to have that block, especially if you can't quite get towards your front body towards your lower body, your front body, the upper front body towards the lower front body. If they can't touch, try to keep the knees bent so your thighs are touching. And then putting that weight in your back body, lift up halfway, flat back, hands back by your sides, or have them above your knees or on the blocks. And then you're either going to reach up in that reverse swan dive, or you're going to go up in steps where you press your upper body up and then come to standing onto feet. Notice what it feels like to be standing on 2 feet. Find your mountain. You're pressing down with your balls and your heels right underneath those hips all of your toes are pointing the same direction and you are engaging the balls and the heels. Lift your piggies and spread them wide for a nice gentle grip on the mat. Lift your kneecaps up into your thighs. Don't hyperextend them. And then here's where you do your pelvic tilt. It's a macro micro movement depending on how your body is constructed and what you know of it. So drop your tail. This is framework and muscle working together. You are engaging those glutes and the framework, the pelvic framework, dropping the back body and lifting the front body in order to activate the sockets. Think navel dimples down and your hip girdle as being that base. And then navel dimples up, your heart girdle, your shoulder girdle, you are lifting that heart up into the space, pulling those shoulder blades down and gently tucking them in. Always trying to press the crown of your head towards the sky and then bring your tail down towards the ground. And you start, if you find that place in between, you feel this pulling, gently pulling on your front body, how it's lifting and reaching you up. And then as it comes back behind, it's tethering you down into the place that you are standing in. So it's this constant sensation of lift and grounding at the same time. It's being light and heavy at the same time. It is amazing, and that is a superpower. So try to engage that. Coming to the middle of your space, find that railroad track position. Blocks might be helpful for in front of you. You are going to step that right foot just as far forward as you can. Keep all of your balls and all of your heels on the ground. Your toes still pointing towards the short edge. Engage in those glutes and start with bringing those arms wide and then lifting the right arm up, left arm down, bending those elbows. Right elbow tucks on top of left elbow, and you are in eagle pose with your arms, palms together or backs of hands, or you're reaching for your shoulders, keeping those elbows, that's what they are, elbows lifted. Press evenly into your lower body from navel dimples down and let yourself hinge forward into that eagle arm pyramid. Keep pulling that left hip forward, that right hip back. This takes a lot of strength. Keep bending your knees so you don't hyperextend. You're going to let those arms go, woo, and then you're going to bring them down to the block or the floor, letting yourself hinge forward even more over that front leg. Inhale and exhale. Stay with your breath. And then hands come to hips. Lift yourself up. Try to find that nice long back, and then step your legs together. Let yourself release that engagement. You can move around, make some circles. Remember to keep protecting those delicate parts about you, your joints, and then back into that table position. Or not table position, sorry, that standing on 2 feet in mountain position, and then stepping, it's pyramid. Stepping that left foot forward. My stance is not very wide. In order for me to feel secure in my legs and to feel like I have total control, my stance isn't very wide. And so if you don't feel you have control, your stance is probably too wide. So bring it in a little bit so you can feel both balls, both heels. Excuse me, this time you're going to reach those arms wide. Left arm goes up and tucks into that right elbow. So left elbow inside right elbow. Remember, palms, back of hands, or you're just reaching for those shoulders. Keep those knees protected as you let yourself come into that eagle arm pyramid or hanging knot pyramid. So your right hip needs to come forward, left hip goes back, and it's a tendency to be right hip pulls back, so you want to pull it forward. And then you're going to let go and let yourself come over for a fuller stretch with that upper body over that front leg. Inhale and exhale, and then hands to those hips. Lift yourself up into that upright position. And then blocks can come with you. This is a great place for blocks. Bring them to the long edge and then bring your legs out as wide as feels good. Here's another place where you want to make sure that you still feel control from that lower girdle. That girdle still engages. You're still pressing through those balls and those heels. Turn those heels out a little bit and the toes in a little bit for just a little bit more stability. Keep those kneecaps pulled up and then let those hands, those arms reach wide, and you are hinging. So press yourself back and come forward in that flat back. And then if it feels all right to you, let yourself reach for the floor or the blocks. You might even want to walk yourself out a little bit wider as you come into that great big forward fold. And you can do all kinds of different things here. You can reach back behind your legs. Make sure you keep those knees bent and protected. Excuse me. Inhale and exhale. You can reach forward. I still got my whole foot on the ground into that great big wide-legged downward dog. Make sure that you always feel in control. I'm going to do a reach for the left leg with the right arm and stretch. I feel in complete control. Don't forget the other side. Inhale and exhale. And if that is too much, you can always have your hands right in front of your face on a block or the floor, and then lift up side to side. And then hands are coming to your hips and you are lifting yourself up. Make sure those legs feel nice and supported, and you always feel like you have control. You never not want to have control. And then find yourself at the back of your space to walk down those legs, coming into a downward dog. So walk out into a downward dog and make sure that your balls and especially your heels are heavy. Your heels may or may not touch, but your balls are definitely engaged, and hang in that downward dog for 2 to 3 breaths, and then make your way down to your child to rest completely. Navel, ribs, chest. Exhale fully, chest, ribs, navel. Stay with your breath. Make sure that you are taking the drinks that you need. Breathing full and deep. And then take your time. Come down to your back. When you get to your back, make sure that you are comfortable. Keep those knees bent, windshield wiper back and forth. Let your whole upper body, let your whole body from your glutes to the top of the back of your head be really heavy on the ground. Your back body is still heavy. Your front body is still light. You are pulling that pelvis into that place of support so your low back is protected. Only if it's in that place of support, if it feels all right to you to pick up your feet and rock and circle behind with your head or with your legs up above you. Breathing full and deep. Remember, use your hands, your arms on the ground to help support or on your legs. Inhale and exhale. And then bring those feet flat to the floor. You're going to bring that right ankle to the top of that left knee. Keep those glutes heavy. Press that right knee away. Press that from that hip, that right hip, that right glute down. Press that right hip away. Stay right here. Only if you want more do you lift that left foot. If you do want to reach between, if you lift up, just bring yourself back down. Keep trying to press your glutes down to the mat. Don't lift your butt up off the mat. In other words, you're keeping your crack on the mat. Flex your feet as much as possible, inhaling and exhaling. And then let go of that left leg. Bring that left foot down. Keep that right leg where it is, but you're going to drop that right knee on top of your left knee, and you're sitting in this cross-legged position. You don't have to wrap that leg around your other leg. Make sure you feel supported. Maybe jiggle onto that left hip. Let your knees fall over to the left to get that twisted position. Try to keep bringing that right shoulder blade to the ground. Lift up through center. You're coming back to your back. Keep your legs the way they are. And now let them fall to the left so that right leg is pulling gently on that left leg. And it's pulling now in that IT band. And then bring your feet back, or your legs back up. Both feet on the ground. Do a windshield wiper. Notice how you feel. And then left ankle on left knee. Engage that left side. Press away. Really feel that engagement. Only going into the fuller position if you lift up. Come back down. Only doing that if it serves you. Breathing full and deep. And then if you did come into the fuller position, bringing that foot down, bringing that left knee on top of that right knee. Let those arms reach out to the side. So drop those knees over to the right. You jiggle a little bit onto your right hip. Keep that left shoulder blade connected. Don't let it sneak up. Your gaze is wherever feels good. Come back through center and then let yourself fall to the other side. Let those legs, that left leg, gently pull that right leg to, and then get that nice stretch on that IT band, and then bring yourself back through center, bringing yourself back and moving however feels good. Rock, circle, windshield wiper. If you want more of a twist, take it. If that one wasn't good enough for you, if you want to reach into a happy baby, reach for those feet, those toes, those heels, maybe the backs of your legs. Doesn't matter as long as you keep your glutes down so you keep your whole low back nice and supported. And then let yourself stretch out into relaxation and completely rest in your relaxation for 7 to 8 minutes or so if you have time, or come to sit in meditation if you would rather do that, and let yourself completely and totally bring this practice into all of your muscle memory. So please take care of yourself. Take some time to rest and incorporate. And until next time, namaste. Thank you so much.